Alright guys, welcome back to the garage. Today we're going to be pulling the injectors on our project truck. We're going to be replacing them with 200% overs. That's not going to be in this video. That'll be in the following one. So today we're just going to pull them out and get ready to install the new injectors. So here we go. Alright, this is the rocker box spacer for the Cummins. This is number 1 cylinder, this is number 6. Now when we do our head stud install, we're actually going to have to clearance this out. As you can see that space where the factory head bolt head sits? We'll actually have to get that out of there so the head stud, because the head stud sticks up. I did it on the gray truck. It's not a big deal, it's aluminum, so you can do it with, you could do it with a little handsaw if you really wanted to, but I'm going to clean that up real nice and all that. Anyhow, now we'll get back to it, pull the rockers, and pull the injectors. So I don't know if you saw what I did there, but when I pull my rockers, I usually grab them, I squeeze them, and you can pull the bolts, everything else out with them, and you got one nice assembly, nothing can go over. Now you do have to watch these little guys right here. They can fall off. Usually the oil suction holds them on, but that's what I do. So then I'll just set it here, and I'll take everything else, put it here, I'll draw a line, number 1 and 6 on down the line. So here we go. Each of these valve bridges, this would be an exhaust, this would be an intake. What it is the rocker will push down. I can show you. So, it's going across 2 valves. The rocker's in here. Right? So now, when the push rod comes up, it'll push down on here. That'll push the 2 valves open on the intake side, and this side would be the exhaust side. Okay, so my plan is now to pull the injectors all out. Like I said, to do all these head bolts and put the head studs in, you don't need to pull them, but we're changing them out, so I figured it's a good time to do it. That way we don't have to worry about knocking them around in case we ever need cores or we're going to sell them or whatever. So anyhow, to pull the injectors, first you have to disconnect the, oh, I can't see. First you got to disconnect the fuel line down here and from the rail and get rid of it. We have some stuff to do to the rail, and we're changing this plate out, so that's not a big deal. We got to get rid of all that anyhow. So get rid of the fuel line, your supply line here, and then there is a tube that actually goes into the head here and seals against the injector. So you have to undo this nut and then pop that out. I have a tool for it that makes it super easy, so that's what we're going to use. Then you can pop your injector out and go from there. So let's move on forward. Before I pulled those nuts off the injector tubes, I probably should have pulled the fuel rail out just to keep it clean and all that. The fuel rail has one banjo bolt here. I believe that's a return. And here's a feed here. And then also there's a rail pressure sensor in the back that we have to disconnect. Then we can get rid of that. So we're going to do that now and keep moving forward. Having the right tools for the job always inevitably makes things easier. There's ways to get these injector crossover tubes out. You can just pop them out with like a pry bar and stuff. You risk messing up the threads and all that. What I do, it's like a $15 tool. I got it when I got my valve spring compressors from Torque Technologies. It's a CR connector tube tool. Whoa. Anyhow, so you just screw this on there and they pop right out. The only thing I've seen is you might have one that's a little more stubborn and you need a pair of vice grips or a pair of channel locks to turn it. Yep, see? And it just pops right out. What it is, that O-ring seats and it gets to be a pain. So while I was doing my editing for this video, I don't know if my battery died or what happened, but actually pulling the injectors out of the head, I don't have the clip for that. So I'm going to give you a little walkthrough of what I do to do that. So you got, as you can see, I got my rockers back in, which will be probably the next video after this. But anyhow, there's a hole down here with these two bolts. What I do is I loosen them up and I just run them back in a little bit so they're sticking up. And then there's a little ring here. I got one of my factory injectors right here. There's a little gap between this and the head. You're going to want to put a pry bar in there and pry up. Now the reason that I leave the bolts in, or I put them back in a couple threads, is so when you do that, when this O-ring loses its like stiction or whatever, that the injector doesn't go flying, drop on the ground or whatever. Just leaving them on there keeps it contained, and that way you don't have to worry about something happening to the injector if you need it for a core, or you're going to sell it, or whatever the case may be. So that's how I do it. Like I said, it's not difficult, but I don't have a video to show you, so I figured I'd at least tell you. That's it. We're done for this video. We got our injectors out, and the next video will be putting them in. I originally was going to do that all in one video. I think it's just going to be way too long, and if somebody just wants to see how to put them in, I'm going to make that a whole separate video, just make it a little easier. So that's it for now. I'll see you guys in the garage on the next one, and have a good day.